Chapter 2. The Factory in the Heart of the Land. In the center of the land of the elves, where fragrant meadows met whispering forests and clear rivers, stood a building never seen before. It was the heart of the realm, the place where dreams intertwined with reality, and sweetness took shape under the hardworking hands of the elves. This was the famous sugar brick factory, an architectural jewel and a sanctuary of magic. From a distance, the building looked like a castle straight out of a fairy tale, but instead of stone and wood, the walls were built of translucent blocks of crystallized sugar. The bricks sparkled in the sunlight, spreading colorful reflections like the stained glass windows of a cathedral. In the morning, the walls lit up in shades of pale pink and golden yellow, and in the evening, the sunset light dressed them in bright red and velvety purple. It was as if the factory breathed with the light. The windows had delicate frames, carved from solidified caramel, with spiral patterns and shimmering arabesques. From them, you could sometimes see the interior lights, like fireflies dancing behind the transparent glass. The roof was a real spectacle, shiny chocolate tiles, carefully placed side by side, and fine streams of honey flowed along the edges, like sweet gargoyles dripping down the walls. The towers, tall and graceful, were covered with white glaze, like the peaks of whipped cream, and crowned with flags made of spun sugar ribbons that fluttered merrily in the breeze. But the beauty of the building did not stop on the outside. The entrance gate, made of carved cinnamon wood, was huge, but light to the touch. When it opened, it let in an avalanche of perfumes. The smell of vanilla, honey, citrus fruits, and chocolate intertwined in a dizzying mix. Anyone who stepped inside felt their hearts skip a beat, as if they had entered a sacred but friendly place, where magic came to life. The interior was even more amazing than the exterior. The floor was made of colored sugar mosaics, which formed intricate designs. Butterflies, stars, flowers, and spirals. In the ceiling, sugar crystal chandeliers emanated a warm and gentle light, and the walls were decorated with sweet stained glass windows, made of transparent candies, through which sunlight entered like enchanted windows. And the center of the main hall was the heart of the factory, a huge ensemble of magical machines. They were not cold and noisy like those in the human world, but alive, playful, and elegant. The elves called them singing machines, because each mechanism made harmonious sounds, bells, trills, whispers of the wind. Thus, the factory was never noisy, but full of music. Each machine was a work of art. Some had wheels made of white chocolate, others had arms made of almond wood, and the wheels were made of pink, green, or blue sugar crystals. When they spun, they spread sparks of light and fragrant drops. Some machines resembled musical organs, with colored tubes that, instead of notes, produced sweet ribbons of caramel. Others resembled giant flowers. The petals opened and closed, stirring the melted chocolate or whipping the whipped cream in fluffy waves. In one corner of the factory was the wheel of flavors, a giant sun-shaped mechanism that mixed fruit essences and spices. The elves poured bottles filled with lemon, vanilla, cinnamon, mint, or lavender flower extract into it, and the wheel combined them into a magical dance. Every time it rotated completely, a fragrant cloud rose and spread throughout the room, sweetening the air. Next to it was the praline piano, was a giant piano, with keys made of wafers and strings made of caramel threads. When an elf pressed the key, not only did a musical note sound, but a small candy fell from inside, perfectly round and with a unique taste. All visitors were invited to play the piano and taste the music cakes. Another famous mechanism was the eternal chocolate fountain. It rose to the ceiling, a tower of liquid chocolate that flowed continuously, never ending. The elves said that the spring was directly connected to the heart of the sweet earth, and the chocolate did not cool, did not spoil, but always remained creamy and fragrant. Around the fountain were round gingerbread tables, on which were placed fruits, biscuits and nuts for those who wanted to taste. The machines did not work alone. The elves were the soul of the factory, each with a well-established role. Some were the mixers, who spun giant spoons of spun sugar, others were the painters, who decorated the cakes with colored glazes, and others were the singers, who set the rhythm and maintained the good mood. The entire factory resembled a theater. Each character had his role, but together they formed a perfect harmony. In addition to the practical part, the factory also had a mysterious part in its basements. It was said that there were secret rooms where the elves kept ancient recipes, written on sugar parchments. These recipes were not only about taste, but also about magic. Some cakes brought tranquility and dreaming, others offered courage and hope, and others could cure sadness or longing. Each sweet had a purpose, and the factory was the place where they came to life. When night fell, the factory did not sleep. On the contrary, it turned into a spectacle of light and color. The sugar walls began to glow from the candles lit inside, and the chocolate roof spread a warm and inviting smell. The cars continued their singing, but more slowly, like a lullaby. The elves gathered the sweets prepared during the day and placed them in golden baskets, to send them all over the land, so that everyone could share the sweetness of their dreams. On nights with a full moon, the factory became even more wonderful. The silver rays of the moon penetrated through the candy-stained glass windows, illuminating the interior in a play of multicolored shadows. Then, the elves said that the factory catches full life. The machines moved by themselves, they sang by themselves, and the sweets were prepared as if by magic. He was the moon's gift to the land, a night in which magic poured over all the inhabitants. Thus, the factory in the heart of the land was not just a place where cakes or candies were made. It was the center of a world, a symbol of unity and joy. The sugar walls were not fragile but strong, because they were held together by the faith and will of the elves. The machines were not cold, but full of life, because each one was endowed with a spark of magic. And the sweets created there were not simple snacks, but messengers of hope, friendship and dreams. Those who were lucky enough to step inside the factory never forgot the experience. Every detail, from the shining walls to the song of the machines and the scent of the air, remained imprinted in the heart. It was living proof that in the land of the goblins, even seemingly ordinary things, like a factory, could become temples of magic and joy.